office. Hey, first of all, before we get started, where's my friend Jet that I just met? Where's Jet? Jet, there you are, buddy. Hey, y'all give Jet a big round of applause, man. That's my good buddy, Jet. Yo, listen, I want to jump right in. I've got a story for you today and a message within it that's going to help you with anything in life. Work, life, family. It's a story about overcoming adversity. Here's what I believe. I believe that inside every adverse, difficult situation in life, there's an opportunity in there for you to grow. An opportunity for you to become a better version of you. In fact, I believe the best version of you is on the other side of whatever adversity you face in life, but there's a catch. You're going to have to go through that adversity, through that difficult thing in front of you to meet and shake the hand of the man or woman you are always destined to be. This good friend of mine named Ed Milet, Ed says this about adversity. Ed says life doesn't happen to you. Life happens for you. Everything in life, the good and the bad, is happening for you to become a better version of you. But again, we're going through that adversity to meet the best version of us. So let's start this story off about finding opportunity in adversity 16 years ago. 16 years ago. The date is July 30th, 2008. I'm sitting around this little rundown apartment in Dallas, Texas. And I'm sitting on this little ratty old couch. And sitting next to me on the couch that day is my meth dealer, this guy named Tex. Got y'all's attention now, huh? This is going down, y'all. 16 years ago, I'm not the clean-cut, polished-looking guy you see in front of you today. Best-selling books, family man, businessman, college professor. None of that stuff was happening 16 years ago. 16 years ago, I'm a full-blown meth addict, and I'm the head of an organized crime ring that operates throughout the entire city of Dallas. I'm the boss, the shot caller of the group. So I'm on the couch today with my dope dealer. His name is Tex. And we're passing this pipe back and forth, and I'm telling Tex, you don't want to be here. The cops are closing in on me. The end is near. 10 days before this guy was doing all these burgers within Dallas, this guy named Dustin. Dustin was my partner in crime. He was my right-hand man in the criminal organization, and Dustin was sitting in the custody of the Dallas Police Department. They had picked him up 10 days before. So they got my partner in crime in custody, which means it's only a matter of time before they have me in custody. Because here's the truth about crime. Everybody talks. Everybody talks in crime now. And just as I pass the pipe back to Tex, the window on my right blows out and shatters. And then tumbling across my living room floor was a little canister going end over end, and there was smoking on one side. Y'all, I've seen this movie before. I know what this canister's about to do. And I tried to get out as fast as I could, but it was too late. Boom! This flashbang grenade blows up in my face. Bright white light, loud cold, blows me back on the couch. And when I came to, when I could see and hear again, man, there's a cop getting over me, full SWAT right here, there's boodles on my chest, the barrel of the assault rifle digging in my eye socket, his fingers on the trigger, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs, "Don't move, don't move!" And I look at this barrel of his gun, I'm like, man, don't worry, right? You got a gun line, so these cops, the Dallas SWAT team, floods in my apartment, and one of them screams out loud, "We got it. We got the Uptown burglar." The Uptown burglar. Now that's the name I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my lifetime. About a dozen other meth addicts and myself, young and old, male and female, black and white, and everything in between, because drugs and addiction do not discriminate. But we indiscriminately, without reservation, broke into the homes of dozens and dozens of people in the Uptown neighborhood of Dallas to feed our insatiable meth addicts. But on July 30, 2008, the Uptown burglaries come to an end because they've got their man. They've got the mastermind of the entire thing, zip-tied on the floor of a dirty old apartment. They took me to Dallas County Jail, where they processed me in. Fingerprints, mugshot. They throw me in a holding cell and set my bond at $1.4 million. It was the biggest bond in Dallas County at the time. 10 months later, I go to my trial. The trial lasts for a week, y'all. It's a long criminal trial. And trials that last a long time where there's no physical victims, because no one ever got hurt in these crimes. I never saw my victims. These are property crimes around meth. It means the evidence of my guilt is overwhelming. And this crime that I'm standing trial for, this is no longer just a burglary case, y'all. This is the biggest level case they can bring against you. This is organized crime case. This is a RICO case. I'm going down for RICO, and on the last day of that trial, the jury comes back with their decision. They bring me back in the courtroom, and the judge reads the sentence out loud. He said, Damon Joseph West, you are hereby sentenced to 65 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Y'all, 65 years in Texas, that's a life sentence in Texas. The jury gave me life that day. First felony conviction ever. Now, obviously, I didn't do the entire life sentence inside of the prison, right? Because I'm standing in front of you today. I did 7 years and 3 months in a maximum security penitentiary in Beaumont, Texas, called the Mark Stiles Unit. Stiles is one of the toughest prisons in Texas. It's one of the toughest at the University of Houston. Get this. Yeah. Wait until you hear the name of the class I'm going to teach you there. The class is called Prisons in America. How about that? I'm the only professional on earth to teach a prison class at a university who lived in a prison. So I know about prison. And Stiles, where I did my time, it's as hard as it gets. So I was doing my time at Stiles. It's 2015 at this point in the story. By 2015 in prison, I became a model. I became a coffee. And I worked in the chapel that day. That's my job. I worked in the chapel. I'll never forget the chapel on my team and made God. He was so excited. He's blessed. Security reporter, man. He just called me on the radio, the parole board. But I go down the parole office that day. I got a smile on my face. Because that's what coffee beans do. We smile everywhere we go. And the lady from parole called me in. She said, have a seat, Mr. West. She said, sit down. So I sat down in front of her. She's got my criminal file in front of her. It's about this thick. It's called your jacket. Your jacket has everything about you. It's your whole life story. It's every arrest. Whether or not you go home or you stay in this prison. But the answer to my question is not in the file about the guy I'm reading about who committed all those crimes in Dallas all those years ago. She said, we don't get to see a lot of Damon West come through the criminal justice system because you had it all, Mr. West. You had every advantage, every privilege, every opportunity over everybody else your entire life. She said, you are the definition of a privileged person in this country. And y'all, let me tell you something. She read my file correctly. Man, I had it all, y'all. I grew up in this great two-parent home. My mom and my dad were married for 55 years. My mother was a school teacher and a nurse. My dad was a sports writer in Texas, a famous sports writer. I was a good student growing up, but I was a great athlete. God blessed me with a cannon for a rifle. And back in Texas, we got this little thing called high school football that you may have heard about, right? It's a big deal, you know, it's like a religion down there. And Friday Night Lights is when I grew up. 3-year starting quarterback for a 5-day school. Scholarship to play football at the University of North Texas. Division I college football. By the time I'm 20, I'm the starting quarterback for a Division I team in America. And man, I thought I had a life. In fact, in 1996, my very first start in college football was at Sun Belt Stadium against Arizona State University, y'all. Yeah, Jake Glover was the quarterback. Pat Tibble was on that team, y'all. Y'all were number 2 in the nation that year. Great, we lost 52-7. It was we got a tough game. But I tell you what, I threw a touchdown in that game with Tillman in my face. Tillman was a competitor, y'all. He was one of the most fierce competitors in the play. That was a great Arizona State team. But the next week, after we played Arizona State in 1996, I came up for a fork in the road fight. Fork in the roads, those are the tough days. That's the days life knocks you down. You'll get back up and dust yourself off, but you're going to make a choice in that fork in the road. You make the right choice in the right way, or the wrong choice in the wrong direction. My fork in the road happened against Texas A&M September 21st, 1996. I'm 12 years old. I'm driving my team down the field against the Aggies. Third play of the game, I go down, career-ending injury. Second game as a starter, my college football career is over. And when I get to this fork in the road in life, football's gone, my identity is gone with it. Because I made the mistake of wrapping my identity up into something external. And you know, we can't do that in life. You can't attach to your identity. It won't come from social media, the house you live in, the car you drive. It has to come from within. And at 20, I was lost. And I made a lot of wrong turns. And that's when I got into hardcore drugs. Cocaine, ecstasy pills. But I was a functional addict. I graduated college. I moved off to work in Washington, D.C., United States Congress. Worked for a guy running for president of the United States. 2004, I moved back to Dallas. Now I'm going to be a stockbroker for one of the biggest Wall Street banks in the world, UBS, United Bank of Switzerland. And it was at that job as a stockbroker in 2004 that my life and the lives of so many other innocent people are forever going to be changed. Let me take you back to that day in 2004, 20 years ago. I was passed out to sleep at work one day. This other stockbroker comes in. He sees me sleeping. He wakes me up. He's visibly shaking. He's like, "Daniel, wake up. You can't sleep with this job, man. The markets are over. You're messing with people's money. They'll fire you if they catch you sleeping here." He said, "Come on down to the parking garage. I've got something to pick you up." So I follow this guy in the parking garage that day. We get into his nice little sports car. He hands me this glass pipe with these crystal rocks in it. I've never seen a glass pipe before. I'm like, "Man, what is that?" He said, "Daniel, just relax. It's crystal meth." He said, "You're going to love this stuff." Y'all, truer words have never been spoken. Because I did. I fell in love with crystal meth. Meth is the most evil, most destructive, most addictive drug ever created by man. I smoked it one time, I was instantly hooked just like that. And I could not give everything away fast enough for that drug, because that's what addicts do. Addicts, we give things away. Everybody asks me now in my life, because I live in a program of recovery, a 12-step program of recovery. They want to know what addiction looks like. Here's Addiction 101. Addicts give up their goals to meet their behaviors. That's what an addict does. You give up your goals to meet your behaviors. Driven people, focused people, successful people. People that they get up on a Saturday morning and go their weekend. Those are driven people that give up their bad behavior to meet their goals. But I was an addict, y'all. Gave it all away. My job, my home, my car, my savings account, my family. I tell you to God. In 18 months, I go from working on Wall Street to living on the streets of Dallas. When I say living on the streets, y'all, I'm homeless. I live in dope houses. I sleep on park benches. I sleep in a lot of cars. I became a criminal at this point to fund my addiction. It was petty crimes at first. It was like shoplifting, breaking into cars, breaking into storage units. Then it escalates to the very serious crime of burglary. When I broke into my victims' homes, I didn't just steal property from my victims. I stole something way more valuable from my victims. Something that my victims can never replace. That is their sense of security. I can't fix it for them. I can't replace it. The state of Texas told me I can't even apologize to them. An apology to the victim of a crime is a felony. They'll send you back to prison with an apology. So my victims lived in that for the rest of their lives. But after 3 years of committing property crimes against the people of Dallas, Texas, the Dallas SWAT team on July 30th, 2008 put an end to the uptown burglaries. The day that SWAT arrested me. Or the shift in mindset that I'm talking about today. The shift in mindset that looks for the opportunity in the adversity of life. I look back in July 30th, 2008. That's not just the day I was arrested, y'all. That was the day I was rescued. I got pulled out of a situation in life I couldn't get myself out of. In fact, the angels in my story don't have wings. My angels, my saviors, had assault rifles. They had shields. They had helmets on. They came through the window. They busted the door off the hinges to pull me out of that world that I was in. The Dallas SWAT team saved my life that day. They didn't just arrest me that day. It took me a long time to figure that out when I was in prison too, y'all. So now the lady from parole, she's done going over my story. She said, "Mr. West, I've been doing this a long time. This is the most spectacular fall from grace I've ever seen in my life. To go from where you were in life to having a life sentence in a Texas prison, it's astonishing because you had it all. But you threw it all away. You became a drug addict, you became a criminal, you became a thief. A jury in Dallas gave you life in prison for the things you did." She said, "But instead of letting that life sentence define you, you changed yourself inside this prison, Mr. West." She said, "There's no doubt about the change you made to yourself. But what got our attention, the reason why we're having this meeting today, is you didn't just change yourself inside this prison, Mr. West. You changed the entire prison around you. One man could change this whole prison. So my question for you is this, Mr. West, and think very hard about this answer because your life depends on it. If you could be remembered for being anything in life, anything at all," she said, "tell me what that would be, but give it to me in just one word, go." Y'all, I knew the answer to that question. I've been living that answer for the last 7 years in prison, and I fired her answer back at her, and I said, "Useful. I just want to be useful, and I can be useful inside this prison, as you've already seen. where I could be useful in that free world, finding more coffee beans. November 16th, 2015. Another one of these days I'll never forget. Because on November 16th, 2015, I walked out of a Texas prison. But I'm not a free man. You're not looking at a free man in front of you. I got a little more time left on parole in Texas. I'm on parole till the year 2073. About 50 more years. I got it. It's a lot of time. But let me tell you what I'm not worried about. Being on parole. Because I'm a coffee bean. So let me tell you the story of the coffee bean and where I heard it from for the first time. Let's go back to that day I was sentenced to life in prison, almost exactly 15 years ago. May 18th, 2009. The judge reads the sentence out loud. Immediately, the sheriff is on me, the bailiff is on me, they're handcuffing me, they're getting me out of the courtroom. Happens fast, just like you see in the movies. I lock eyes with my mom on the way out of the courtroom. I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry. Man, they whisked me out of there. They put me in this little side room, it's got a bulletproof glass. They told me to wait. A few minutes later, my mom and my dad are being escorted into the other side of the glass. They're going to give my parents one last visit before I go to prison. They feel sorry for my parents because I just got life. My dad, my father, he can't talk. He is in stunned disbelief that his son, who once had all this promise in life, just received a life sentence in prison. So my mom does all the talking that day. And she said, baby, debts in life demand to be paid. And you just got hit with one heck of a bill from the state of Texas. But you did everything they said you did, Damon. So you have to go and pay that debt to society. She said, you owe Texas that debt, though. Now you owe your father and I a debt, too. We gave you all the opportunity, love, and support to be anything you want to be in life. And that's how you repaid us when we saw in that courtroom? That's not going to work. We raised you in Port Arthur, Texas, Damon, a giant melting pot of the city. We gave you a great moral compass. But you chose to not use it. So here's the debt you're going to pay to us. When you go to prison, you will not get in one of these white hate groups, one of these Aryan Brotherhood type of gangs, because you're scared because now you're the minority in there. It's not going to work, damn it. You were never raised to be a racist. You're not going to start that now. She said you will not get any tattoos while you're inside that prison. Y'all see the ink on me? Man, I spent almost 10 years in a Supermax level 5 prison, y'all. No ink, no tattoos. And these guys in prison, they want to tattoo every inch of your body in the joint. These guys hit me up constantly while I was in prison. They were like, West, let me put a tattoo on you, man. I tell them the same thing every time. Dude, I can't do it, man. My mom said no. It was the best I got. And luckily, the guys in the joint, man, they let you make it with your mom. Here's why they let you make it about your mom. Little known fact about prison. The busiest visitation day of the year in prisons all over America, Mother's Day. Mother's Day, the lines out the door at that gate to see their sons. Father's Day is just another weekend in prison. Not everybody has a father, y'all, but most people have a mother. So the guys let me make it. My mom told me that day, though. She said, Damon, I'm serious. No games, no tattoos. You come back as the man that we raised, or don't come back at all. I was floored. She said, do you understand the debt you're going to pay to us? I was like, yeah, Mom, I got it. But what do I know about prison, y'all? I've never been to prison before. I don't know anybody who's been to prison before. They take me back to my pod in Dallas County Jail. I got 2 months before the prison bus comes to pick me up to serve that life sentence, and I'm asking every guy in the county that's been to prison before, frantically, how am I going to survive? What am I going to do? And every guy I'm talking to, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, they're all saying the same thing. You have to get into a gang. You can't survive when you're going without a gang. You're going to the worst part of prison where the lifers live. Get into a gang. But there was this one guy who was so different, y'all. This older black man named Muhammad. Now, Muhammad is what you would call a career criminal. He's been in and out of prison his entire life. But he's the most positive guy I've ever met in my life. This guy had a smile on his face everywhere he went. You couldn't knock the smile off Muhammad's face. And every morning, every single morning, Muhammad would come to my cell, to my bunk. He would pick me up like a ray of sunshine in that dark place with his positive energy. So one morning, Muhammad comes up to my bunk. He's got a cup of coffee in his hands, he had a smile on his face. He said, West, I've been watching you. I've been watching how you're dealing with these knuckleheads and these dummies talking about you got to get into a gang. He said, don't listen to these fools. You want to keep that promise you made to your mom and your dad? then let me tell you what prison's really going to be like. He said the first thing you need to understand about prison is all about race. Race runs the entire institution inside of a prison because the inmates want it to be about race. He said when you walk into a maximum security prison, you're expected to break off with your own racial group and stay with that group the whole time you're there. But you chose the steepest path. You made a promise to your mom. So when you walk in the door, I want to let you know the white gangs are going to get the first dibs on you because you're white. He starts naming them off. The Aryan Brotherhood, the Aryan Circle, the White Knights, the Woods. He said you fight all the white gangs first. You survive that, now you're fighting the black gangs. And the white gangs will send the black gangs after you. The Crips, the Bloods, the Gangster Disciples are going to be happy to tee off on this independent white guy who won't get with his own race and his own kind. He said, but West, if you survive all that, if you can't survive all that, you'll earn the right to walk alone. He said the strongest man in prison always walks alone. He told me the truth about fighting. Now, y'all, this is the truth that set me free then, and it keeps me free now, because Muhammad put the expectation right where it has to be on how you handle adversity in life. He said, you don't have to win all your fights, West, but you do have to fight all your fights. He said, some days you're going to win and some days you're going to lose. Don't worry about the losses. Get back up and keep fighting. That's what he's telling me. Just get back up. But y'all, when he's telling me this back in 2009, I'm looking back at this guy like a deer in headlights. All those violence and terror I'm about to walk into. That's when he's like, West. He said, let me break it down for you a different way. He said, I want you to imagine prison as a pot of boiling water. He said, anything we put in this pot of boiling water will be changed by the heat and the pressure inside this pot. He said, I'm going to put three things in this pot of boiling water and watch how they change. A carrot, an egg, and a coffee bean. Here's where I first heard the story of the coffee bean, y'all. It was the summer of 2009 in a jail cell at Dallas County Jail. Exactly 10 years before John Gordon would write that book called The Coffee Bean in 2019. So he said, first things first, West. If I put a carrot in that pot of boiling water, what happens to the carrot? I'm like, Muhammad, the carrot's going to turn soft. He said, that's right, West. He said, the carrot goes in the water really hard and firm, but the water of the prison turns the hard carrot soft and mushy and weak. You don't want to be the carrot. He said, what about the egg? What happens to the egg in the pot of boiling water? I'm like, Muhammad, the egg is going to turn hard, man, like a hard-boiled egg. He said, that's right, West. He said, now the egg has a shell that's going to protect it physically. But inside that shell, that soft liquid core, the yolk, the heart becomes hard. He said, now, if your heart becomes hard, you become incapable of giving or receiving love. He said, if you're incapable of giving or receiving love in the world you went into, you don't come back as someone your parents recognize. Then he asked me the question. He said, what about the coffee bean, West? He said, what happened to the coffee bean in the pot of boiling water? Y'all, I didn't have an answer from Muhammad. I didn't know what happened to a coffee bean in a pot of boiling water. And that is when Muhammad, this man who looks nothing like me, this man who doesn't come from the same America that I come from, this man who doesn't believe the same things I believe in life, this is a black Muslim man from the streets of Dallas. I'm this white middle-class Christian from a little town called Port Arthur. But this man who's so different than me is going to share with me one of the most important and transformational messages I've ever received in my entire life. And the moral to that is this. If you ever shut yourself off to people because of their differences, different race, gender, ethnicity, different religion, opinions, political views, if you close yourself off to people because of their differences, you will miss some of the most important lessons and some of the best friendships in this life. Because Muhammad told me that day, he said, if I put a coffee bean in the same pot of warm water we call prison, he said, now you have to change the name of the water to coffee. Because he said the coffee bean, West, the smallest of the three things, small like you, had the power to change the entire atmosphere inside that pot because the power was inside the coffee bean. He said, just like the power's inside you. And he told me, he said, everything else in life will be changed by the water of life. Carrots will change by the water, eggs will change by the water, but not a coffee bean. The coffee bean is the only thing that changes the water because it's the change agent. He told me, if you want to come back as someone your parents recognize, you're going to be like that coffee bean. In fact, the last words he ever says, He's bonded out of Dallas County Jail. The prison bus is coming to pick me up to serve my life sentence in prison. He has 4 words for me on the way out the door that day. He said, hey, West, be a coffee bean. Be a coffee bean. The 4 words that changed my life. Because you know what those 4 words did for me? They put the power back inside me. Now, if the power's inside me, it can't be in the world around me. It was the ultimate message that our world is created from the inside out, not the outside in. And if I can keep the power inside me, y'all, this means I don't survive inside of a prison. I thrive inside of a prison. And I'm telling y'all that today because I want you to know the power is inside each and every one of you. It's not what goes on around you locally in your towns, the states you live in, the crazy politics and social problems that our country has right now. It definitely doesn't come from that fake world they call social media. It comes from within you. And if you can keep the power inside you, you don't survive your adversity in life. You thrive in your adversity in life. I know that for a fact because I took the coffee bean message to the biggest pot of boiling water there is. A level 5 Supermax prison in the state of Texas. All right, you ready for the prison stories now? People love prison stories. Good thing, because I got a lot of prison stories to tell you about. Life is how to live with life. The life is built on nostalgia. It's a building called 7 Building. 7 Building has 432 men. Every man's got a life. Most of those men never go home. It's the most painful story to live with. I walked in that first day, I got a vaccine on a couple glass of wine. I don't even know the garden stood there, they walk in the cell. I walked in that first day, the door was behind me, looked up in this giant room with 3 levels of cells. The inmates came all the way up, it's loud. Prison was a very loud place. And within the first 20 minutes of walking inside the day room, I was going to fight with a guy from Aaron Brotherhood. And this guy beat me from one side of the day room to the other. But I showed up and I fought and I walked. You got to fight those fights. Y'all, the same is true in life. No one is out there counting your wins and losses. No one keeps track of that but you. But you know what everybody's watching to see? Does he or she get back up? Said it would be. Ultimately, in the end, in prison, I ended up earning my respect the same way I had all my life, playing sports, y'all. It was on that rec yard, on that prison, on that life sentence building, that prison, that I earned my respect playing sports. And after 2 months in prison, the violence was finally over. The threat to my physical safety is gone, but I had a bigger threat to my life going on 2 months into prison. It wasn't physical, y'all. It was internal. I was one night myself. I'm like, Carlos, what's good, man? I can't figure out how to get coffee. He's like, what is coffee? So I told him the story of the coffee, just like Muhammad told me, and Carlos busted it wide open for me. He said, you can't be a coffee bean because the way you think. Y'all, your thinking is everything. You have to put in your own work in life. No one can put in your work for you. I got up every day in a dungeon, y'all. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Months became years. By being a coffee bean. Have positive body language everywhere you go, y'all. Smile. Start with your smile. Your smile is powerful, y'all. When people see you smile, they smile back. It's a chain reaction of positive energy with the expression of your face. The lady from Parole asked me that day. She said, how did you change a prison around you? I said, I did it with my smile. Because Muhammad told me in Dallas County Jail, he said, Wes, you will either infect the room that you walk into with your negative energy, or you will affect the room with your positive energy. You infect or affect everywhere you go. Second rule about being a coffee bean. Work on yourself every day in 3 different areas. Spiritually, mentally, physically. Every day. You've got to make that time to work out your mind, your body, and your soul. Because here's the truth. You can't give what you don't have. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. Everybody asks me all the time, like, David, what's your spiritual workout? I'll give you my spiritual workout. When I got into prison, I got into a 12-step program of recovery. I learned how to pray. I've got this prayer that I pray every morning, and whatever religion you are, you can borrow my prayer, you can have my prayer. I'm a Christian. I pray to Christ every morning. I say, hey, Christ, put in front of me what you need me to do today for you, and let me recognize that when I see it. Because I don't want to miss whatever that is. Amen. That's my prayer to be useful every day. Every single day, you've got to make the time to work with your mind, your body, and your soul. Third rule about being a coffee bean. The secret to life. The secret to life, I learned inside the maximum security prison. The secret to life is servant leadership. Servant leadership is helping other people reach their goals in life, helping to raise other people to a different station in life. Because when we help other people, that's when we're at our best. That's how you grow. When I was in prison, I couldn't take college classes because I had a bachelor's degree already. But I started a tutoring service where I taught guys how to read, how to write. I got ready for the GED test. So that one day if they ever got out, they could be a better husband, a better father. When I got out of prison, I found out there were men out there waiting to be servant leaders in my life. Let me tell you about two of these servant leaders that I met. You know, when I got out of prison, I knew I was sitting with this really good story. And this incredible message called for me. I just lived it myself. And I wanted to go out there and share it. But the problem was I found out, man, there wasn't anywhere for me to share my message. I found out real quick too. You can't go knock on the door of a high school and say, I just got out of prison, I want to talk to your kids. They chased me down the street when I tried that. But I had to get my reps, right? Because anything you want to be good at in life, you got to get your reps in. I lived in my parents' spare bedroom for 2 years, y'all, when I got out of prison. In that spare bedroom, there was a mirror there, a little vanity mirror my mom had there. Every night for 2 years, I practiced this presentation in front of that mirror. I got my reps and I got good. And I was ready for the right time to meet the right audience, and that opportunity came January 12, 2017. 14 months out of prison, I get a phone call from a buddy in Houston. Houston's 90 miles away. He said, Damon, get to Houston right now. The Bear Bryant Coach of the Year is going on right now. The 8 best college football coaches in America are in this room right now. I've got an extra press pass if you want to go. I'll sneak in. He works in media. Now, he knows that I think that college football is the world I'm going to get into. But I don't have the access. He's giving me that chance right now. So, man, I get in my car and haul butt to Houston. Driving 90 miles and practice my elevator pitch. What am I telling this coach when I meet him? He sneaks me in the back door of Toyota Center. There I am, on the floor with all these USC, Wisconsin, Penn State, PJ Fleck, they're all in that room. And I go up to all these coaches, I shake their hand, and I give them my pitch of why they should bring me to talk to their team. And every single coach I met that night slammed the door in my face. They all told me no. In 1 hour, I've gotten 7 no's from the 8 coaches in the room. That's a no every 8 minutes, y'all. I'm in the corner of Toyota Center that night. I'm licking my wounds. I'm feeling sorry for myself. And the voice in my head is screaming at me, go home. What are you doing here, Dave? You know what the voice in my head told me that night? An imposter. Anybody ever felt like an imposter when you were in? How about the first time you became a parent? How about the first time you started the job you're in now? You know what I couldn't do it a long time ago, though, y'all? Listen to myself. And you shouldn't listen to yourself either. Do you know why? Because the voice in your head could be fear talking to you. And you don't want to listen to fear because fear is a liar. So instead of listening to myself, you know what I do? I talk to myself. And there I am in the corner that night, pumping myself back up. I'm like, Damon, you're not going anywhere until that last coach tells you no. Y'all, the last coach to get to in that room, he's the hardest guy to get to. His team just beat Alabama 2 nights before for the national championship. Everybody wants this man's time. But y'all are relentless. I'm not leaving until he tells me no. So I stalked Dabo Swinney around that room. And y'all, man, I'm like a nut, man. I'm hiding behind fake plants so I can ambush Dabo, right? I'm pushing people out of the way. Dabo sees me now. Security has seen me too. They're chasing me. They're about to throw me out of Toyota Center, but I get in front of Dabo. I give my best stuff for about 60 seconds. And I come up for air, and Dabo was like, man, you got a card on you? So I gave him a card, he snatched it from me, and over his shoulder, he's leaving. He's like, I'll check you out. He's gone. And I'm like, well, there's my last no. But you know what I felt good about that night? That last no. Because that last no meant that I left it all on the field. And that's the lesson we learn in sports, isn't it? You give it your best effort. Sometimes you come up short. Muhammad said, you don't have to win all your fights. You got to fight all your fights. Sales. Anybody who works a sales job, you know that you knock on every door, you make every call. That's when your day ends. Y'all, I went home, slept like a baby, forgot about that night. 4 months later, out of the blue, I get an email. It's the director of football operations at Clemson University. This guy named Mike Dooley. Mike Dooley's email says this: Hey, Damon, Coach Swinney met you at the award show in Houston. He'd love to have you come talk to his team. Do you have August 1st open? Mike, I got every first open, man. Nothing was going on in my life in 2017. So August 1st, 2017, I go speak to the Clemson Tigers. And after my presentation that night, Dabo's in my face. And Dabo's a very high energy guy. He's like, David, I've never heard a story like that before. I've never seen my players respond like that to a speaker. He said, have you been to Alabama yet? No, Dabo, I've been to Clemson, man. I haven't been anywhere. He said, well, I just texted Nick Saban from the back of the room and see what happened to that. The next day when I landed in Texas, when I trip to Clemson, I turned my phone on. There's a voicemail and a text message from the Director of Football Operations at the University of Alabama. The message says this: "Hey Damon, Dabo called Coach Saban. Coach Saban can't wait to hear your story. How does August 21st, 7:30 p.m. work for you?" Pretty good. I'll be in touch with you, right? Just like that, Dabo's really starts kicking open every door to college football. And Kirby Smart, Lincoln Riley, Chip Kelly, Lane Kiffin, Ryan Day, they all call my phone. But the real big event was yet to happen. It was 1 year after the presentation of Clemson. I get a phone call out of the blue one day. And the other end of my phone is this guy named John Gordon. Now, y'all, John Gordon is one of the biggest motivation speakers and authors in America. This is the energy bus guy, y'all. I follow John every day on Twitter for my inspiration. And I'm starstruck. I'm like, "John, dude, I know who you are. How do you know who I am?" He said, "Dabo speaking." He said, "David, I just got done speaking to Clemson's football team. Dabo brought me off for 30 minutes to tell me your whole life story." He said, "David," and John said this before the pandemic. He said, "The world needs the coffee message, Damon. Let's deliver the special world." He said, "When you write a book for me, we'll call it the Coffee Bean." In the summer of 2019, exactly 10 years after I first heard the story of the Coffee Bean, in a jail cell in Dallas County Jail for Muhammad, the book, The Coffee Bean, comes out, and it took the entire world by storm. When I say world, y'all, it started off in America first. 4 to 6 weeks of the bestseller list, then it gets a global publishing deal attached to it. Global publishing deals are rare, y'all. That's when they start printing your book in every language of the world. The book starts showing up on the shelf in Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, French, Italian, German, Greek, Korean, and then in the year 2020. Remember what happened in 2020, y'all? A global pandemic hits. The entire world becomes a pot of boiling water, and the entire world took for the right message to go through. And guess what so many people came to? The Coffee Bean. My life took off like this. It was vertical, y'all. I can't explain how fast it happened. But it all goes back to that one night in Houston, Texas. Remember that night that I had those 7 no's? And I'm in the corner that night, and the voice in my head told me to leave. Y'all, I was this close to walking out that door. But if I walk out that door that night, I don't stick around to get that last no, which ended up being the biggest yes. We're not having this conversation today. The world doesn't have the Coffee Bean message. So what I'm telling you is this: you don't give up in life when it gets tough. You don't quit. You don't not ask your question. The only question you know the answer to in life is the one you do not ask. That's a no because you didn't ask the question. Wayne Gretzky may have said it best: you miss 100% of the shots that you do not take in life. Take your shots in this life, y'all. And the last rule about being a Coffee Bean is that your past does not define you. Your past doesn't matter. The past good things you've done, the past bad things you've done, they're in your past for a reason, because you don't live in your past. Your past is your lesson. You learn from it. You teach other people with it. The present today is a gift. Make the most of today, y'all. That's where your RQ's going to be. And the future, that's your motivation, y'all. Now, I don't know what motivates you in life, but I'm going to tell you something that motivated me in life for a long time. Finding my friend Muhammad. Anybody wonder what happened to Muhammad? Just one story. Everybody wants to know, where's your buddy Muhammad now? Y'all, the truth is, I couldn't find Muhammad until very recently, because Muhammad isn't his real name. It's his Muslim name. When a person converts to Islam, they get rid of their real name. They take on a Muslim name. Kind of like that guy from the 1960s. Remember that guy named Cassius Clay? Well, you may remember him as Muhammad Ali, right? This Muhammad was no different. I get out of prison, I go to Dallas County Jail, I said, "Hey, I'm trying to find my friend Muhammad." Dallas County Jail was real nice about it, like, "Mr. West, we can't find your friend a Muslim name. We need a real name or a birthday. We need vital information." So y'all, I had the hope that one day Muhammad would find me. And here's how he finally found me. 2 years ago, I get a letter from an inmate in the Texas prison system. This letter had no return address, had one sentence: "Find James Lynn Baker, and you find Muhammad." It took 7 years for this group, y'all. I go to Dallas with a private investigator. The first thing the private investigator found was his criminal record. Matched everything he told me county jail. I know this is my buddy. All we got to do now is find his current address. But we never did find his current address. Because James Lynn Baker II, Muhammad, he died in Dallas, Texas on May 9, 2017 of an opiate overdose. He's a drug addict just like me, but he never got help with his addiction. So now that I know who the guy is, this is the part of the story called integrity. Integrity is who you are when no one else is watching you. I'm going to find a way to find this guy, because I think we all understand today, right? I'm not here without him, right? So I told the private investigator, let's go find this man. And we did. He's got 3 living sisters, Visha, Von Seal, and Vanessa Baker. I called these ladies up one night. I told the story. About the time I was working in Dallas County Jail, the message he gave me, and what I've been able to do that message both in prison and out of prison. I told the sisters, I said, I've got an idea to honor your brother's life, but I need to know, what high school did y'all go to? Because, you know, when James and I were locked up together in county jail, he told me he was from the worst part of Dallas. Inner city, very poor, very urban. The sisters confirmed that. They told me Dallas Lincoln High School. Y'all, Dallas Lincoln? That's as inner city as you get down. That's South Dallas, y'all. So I told the sisters, great. Here's what I want to do at Dallas Lincoln High School. Every year, for the rest of my life, I'm putting $10,000 into a trust for a scholarship in your brother's name. We'll call it the James Lynn Baker II Coffee Bean Scholarship. And I would love it if your family picks that winner every year, so that every year one little boy or one little girl that grows up in your old neighborhood, they get a better chance at life through an education, because these 2 guys met up in Dallas County Jail back in 2009. Y'all, the sisters took me up on it. They just picked the second winner for 2 years in a row. Let me tell you about one of the winners, this little girl named Megan. Megan's mother's a school teacher. Her dad, a disabled veteran. Right now, Megan, she's sitting in class at Texas A&M. Megan's going to be an engineer one day, y'all. Y'all, let me tell you something. Finally found a home, y'all. It took 7 years to find that guy. It took 7 no's that night in Houston, Texas to get to the yes at the end of life. It took 7 years to walk out of prison. Some of your goals in life are going to take you longer than others. Don't you dare quit and give up before it happens. So let's wrap this up with a call to action. It's this. Life is a pot of boiling water. You already know it. It's harsh. It's stressful. It's difficult. You got 3 choices. That's it. Be like a carrot that turns soft and mushy and weak in the boiling water, or the egg that becomes hard and mad and angry, or be like the coffee, which changes that pot of boiling water into a pot of coffee. So my call to action to each and every one of y'all today is the same call to action Muhammad gave me 15 years ago. When a prison bus came to Dallas County one day, picked me up to come serve my life sentence in a Texas maximum security prison. My call to action to you go out there and you go be a coffee. Be a coffee, y'all. Thank you very much. Thank you.